Hello, students, and welcome to the screencast on cells. This is the first in 4 videos to help you prepare for your first test of the second semester at TASM. Hope you're excited for your Discover Oman trips coming up. I can't wait to jump out on Desert Trek tomorrow. Hope you can see all the biology that we've done this year out on the trips that you go on. As you start studying for this, when you get back and you got that Thursday off, think about how all 4 topics on the test are intertwined or interconnected. And that's a big theme in biology. The 4 topics, just as a reminder, will be on cells, it will be on the cell cycle, it will be on cellular membranes and transport, and homeostasis. Hopefully you can see them all intertwined. You'll notice from my original syllabus in the class, I did the cell cycle a little early. That was to get it in with the Terry Fox run. All right, just like all my other videos, this is for free or for use for anybody to help them out, and I make no money off of it, and all the slides and materials are available on Khan Academy or on Google Classroom. Just log in and check out Test 1 study items. I'm trying to embed the next generation science standards in this class and really explore phenomena and have you generate driving questions for these phenomena. So there's 4 phenomena I wanted to explore with cells. The first one is, why is a cell the basic unit of life? And by that I mean, why can't life be any smaller? Why can't it just be proteins? Why can't it just start out as something bigger? Why is a cell the smallest part? And then there are 3 diseases I wanted to look at, and I'm willing to bet that you know somebody affected by one of them, and it can be very sad. And so it's good for us to understand it on a scientific level so that maybe you can go out and help solve these diseases. And that would be cystic fibrosis, diabetes, and cancer. All right, if you're looking at that early in your studying guide, we haven't quite done cystic fibrosis yet, but we have done diabetes and cancer. All right, here are 6 questions for you. Can you pause the video and answer them? All right? Okay, hopefully you aced them, and if you did, then there's no need to go any further in the video. All right, but if you didn't, let's do a little quick review. So the cell theory, I showed you this TED Ed clip on it just to show you scientists not acting well together and being mean to each other and stealing ideas, just so that you can see, like, scientists are human. Humans sometimes do wrong things, so it's always important for us to read up and make decisions on our own, just like you're doing with your scientific issues project. And so hopefully you got this, that all living things are made of 1 or more cells. Cells are the basic units of structure and function in an organism. What I mean by that is that they're just the smallest living unit in an organism, right? The cells that make up my skin or my heart are the smallest living thing inside of me. Cells only come from the reproduction of existing cells. So it's a little misleading, the word theory. It's kind of like the theory of gravity, right? Well, if you jump off of something, you're going to fall down. So this is well proven over time that we're made up of cells and that they have these 3 characteristics. All right, and it's important because from these we can do a lot of research into cellular diseases and something called emergent properties, right? When cells act together, they can become a tissue, which gives them characteristics that an individual cell itself cannot do. All right, let's keep on plugging on. So why are cells so small? Why do we got to break out the microscopes, of which we have really nice ones here at TASM to check them out? Well, we have over 100 trillion of them in our bodies. They're so small so that way materials can pass in and out of them easily with diffusion. Here's kind of a cool size comparison chart. This would be what's called a logarithmic scale. So it goes by powers of 10, right? A protein is going to be much, much smaller than an adult. So here we go. I gave you these slides in class, so that way cells have to be small for diffusion rates. DNA limits cell size, right? We only have 1 copy of DNA inside of our cells. It needs to be opened up and expressed with RNA polymerase to make proteins. If you're really big, you need a lot of proteins. So it's just going to have a limit on cell size. You would need extra compartments of DNA. And then there's something, we did a little lab on this, the surface area to volume ratio. Right? Volume increases to the 3rd power while surface area increases to the 2nd power. Go through Classroom. There's a little animation that you can click on to go through it. So the way to think about this is as a cube. As it gets bigger, The volume's increasing at a faster rate than the surface area. That holds for a cylinder, it holds for a sphere, etc. So because the volume increases at a faster rate, cells need to be small. They need the largest surface area to volume ratio. It's impossible as the cell gets bigger. That's one of those things. It's hard to just talk that out. It is much better for you to look at a model like we did in class, where you cut out the cellular models out of agar and then put them into vinegar and watch them change colors, or to use the modeling tool on Classroom. Okay, so here's a little flow chart for you, just as a little reminder. Pro means before the nucleus, right? So another thing, pro means no. So no nucleus, no membrane-bound organelles. Bacteria do have things like ribosomes and cilia and flagella and cell walls and cell membranes. Bacteria, don't sleep on bacteria, right? They've been around before humans. They'll be around after humans. They've done remarkable adaptation. They do stuff called quorum sensing, where they can know when there's other bacteria around, and they can do random tumbles and directed runs, etc. If you want to learn more about that, take that AP biology class with me. Okay, let's get back on track. U means true, or it has a nucleus. It's got organelles, and we can divide up eukaryotic cells into plant and animal cells. Okay, can you compare and contrast these? You can use the figures to help you. All right, explain it to a family member. All right, hopefully you did. Remember that this would be way smaller, be like a tenth or even smaller than this cell. It would be about the size of this mitochondria, which is pretty cool. That means that we think mitochondria evolve. We pretty much agree with it. It's called the endosymbiotic hypothesis, that mitochondria were engulfed by cells. And here you can see not all cells look like this one that we see in a textbook all the time, right? They look, their structure fits their function. You can see this nerve cell. And we played around with this a little bit. I think you all kind of liked it, right? They get a message here. It congregates at the axon hillock. And when it reaches enough, it'll open up those sodium channels that we learned about. And it'll send an action potential down here. And then here's an intestinal cell. Look, it has all these ridges at the top. And those are to increase the surface area for absorption of food. So it's pretty cool. The structure of a cell leads to its function. Just like we said in the past unit, the structure of a macromolecule or a chemistry molecule leads to its function. Okay, how about plant versus animal? Can you do that? Well, hopefully you got that the plant, right? It's going to be able to do photosynthesis, so it has chloroplast. But major misconception, plants also have mitochondria. They need to break down the sugars that they make. They have large vacuoles to store water and other items. When plants get dehydrated, this shrinks and it actually brings the cell walls in. You can see that if you put it in salt water. You've done that with the microscopes. Here's an animal cell. So the big difference is, right, plant cells have cell walls, they have chloroplasts, they have large vacuoles. They can do photosynthesis, obviously. Okay, which organelles are used in capturing and storing energy? Now, if you don't have the exact same ones I have here, that's okay, right? As long as you're able to justify your choices and explain them, all right? Construct that explanation. So what do we mean by capturing and storing energy? Well, we're going to capture energy from sunlight. We're going to turn it into glucose. So some of the organelles involved in that are the mitochondria and the chloroplast. But there's more than just that, right? We got to get glucose in. So we have things like the cell membrane. We have organelles that help to break them down called lysosomes. And then my little presenter here is covering up, vacuoles and vesicles that moves things around. Real quick, you should go back and study the POGL. You know, I'm a big POGL fan of the organelles inside of there. It's helpful to make some flashcards. So that's not really higher level learning, but I feel like it's helpful to know the parts of the cell. So when we discuss cellular diseases, you kind of know what's going on. Here you can see how does the structure of a cell lead to its function. This is just to give you examples of different types of cells. One cool thing now that we have studied some cellular membranes and transport, these paramecium have a contractile vacuole. So I want you to ask yourself, if it got put into distilled water, what would happen? And if it got put into salt water, what would happen? Things that are at different relative concentrations of solutes than the inside of the paramecium. If that doesn't make any sense to you, then you should watch the cell membranes video and do some practice problems with it. Just a reminder that we have organization, right? The cell is the smallest thing. You put a bunch of cells together, you get tissues. Here's a muscle cell, here's muscle tissue. Then the tissues together can make an organ, organs can make an organ system, and together that can make an organism. All right, so think about it like skin cell. It can make some skin tissue, which can make the skin, which can be part of the integumentary system, which can help make you as a human. All right, that's the first of 4. I'm going to try and keep these short. Hope that was helped you study, and make sure you come to my review session if you need it.